What's up, guys? It's Kimuel again, coming at you with another StarCraft 2 replay. Today's matchup's a pretty good one. It's a PvP matchup against the light blue Playkad, and the top player we have here is question mark? No, I'm just kidding. It's from a Korean replay. Unfortunately, I couldn't get it translated, but the player's name is LX. So we have the dark blue LX Protoss player here, and again the light blue Protoss player Playkad. I had scrolled through this match just to make sure it had some of the unique things that Protoss vs. Protoss has. Unfortunately, this is one of the mirror matches that can be pretty boring. They're all fairly boring, but sometimes Protoss is the worst. But hopefully we can get a little something out of it if you're struggling with the Protoss vs. Protoss match. Each player does some unique things that work, but then we'll see one player kind of expands on it and really wins the game for him. So we'll take a look at that. And again, I do have some Gosu Cup of the Invitational, the current one that's going on, the best of 16 games, will be coming up shortly. The first round hasn't been all that exciting, to be honest. A few people have won that I would already expect to win. I haven't really seen any like upset games that I really wanted to show or highlight. So if you want to check those out, just go to any replay site like Gosu Gamers or SE2P or something like that and check those out. But if there is one game in particular or something that everyone feels like is a pretty quality game, just let me know and I'll go ahead and get that replayed up. So let's go and jump into the game here. So we have Playkad again on this left side. So he does put out his pylon and he goes right away for his gateway. And again, the same thing is being done here by LX. The pylon is coming up and then the gateway as well. Watch his waypoint here where he's going to cycle it. It's kind of funny. He puts it like right on top of this probe here in a second. It's interesting to do that. Sometimes most players see he put it right on that probe. Sometimes they'll just put it over here and then micro this guy up here. But he wanted to make sure it went right after that probe. But anyway, so then he's got his cybergenetics core coming up right away. So he's not going to go for double gateway. Both players tending to go right to cybergenetics core in a Protoss vs. Protoss match. And again, I have said this numerous times as we're playing on Lost Temple here. Going for that early expansion is so crucial, and both of these players feeling the need not to do it. So we'll see if that hurts any of them later in the game here. So both players have their probe in the base, so they're seeing what's going on. So the cybergenetics core for both players is going down. We have LX here going for double gas right off the bat, as well as Playkad. So at this point, they're almost exactly identical in the build orders. But fortunately, both units are different that they build. He goes for a sentry first, as LX goes for a zealot first. There's really nothing too special about that, but now Playkad does have a zealot out. And it looked like LX maybe wanted to try to continue the cheese, but it didn't really work out for him. He tried to hack up some probes, but he just microed those away. So now we're going for another gateway, as well as I would assume at this point that LX is probably going to be doing the same. Go for a double gateway, start getting up some units, building up a little bit of defense, and maybe try to get a little push on each other. Playkad doing a good job microing with his probe here. He's keeping it, and a lot of players don't know that just keeping your probe in the base sometimes hinder the other player of what they are building. They'll hold up building something simply because they don't want the other player to see. So it may seem like stupid to keep your probe in the base for so long, but that's a trick a lot of people do, especially at the Platinum division, and a lot of pros and stuff kind of separate. See how he builds in all these things right here. Alex builds a gateway as soon as that probe dies, and now a robotics facility as soon as that probe dies. So Playkad has no really idea now that he did see the gateway, but he has no idea that there is a robotics facility coming up. But luckily for him, he already has a robotics facility of his own coming up as well. So both players just doing basically mirror match. They've built the exact same things at the exact same time, and nothing's really different here. So he did get that upgrade for the warp gate, which is imperative. I mean, it's obviously a must for Protoss. And it looks like he's now training the warp gate for him. So Alex is a little bit behind at this point. I wouldn't say it's a big issue because obviously he's only got 4 units and Playkad only has, 6 units. So it's not a big issue at this point. If Playkad was to push, it would just be kind of a dinky little battle, and I don't think really anybody would win that one. So it looks like he's not really changing the build order. He's going to go for a couple Zealots for Playkad, maybe a couple Stalkers, and some Sentries. And Alex is almost doing the exact same. And again, with that robotics facility as a Protoss versus Protoss match, or pretty much any Protoss versus anything really, first thing you should always build out of the robotics facility is your warp observer. Get it into the other base and see what they got going. As both players had scouted already from the beginning of the game, they realized both players had no forges, so there was no way there was a photon cannon going to be up. So the warp observer will easily come in here and see everything that Playkad has, as well as his observer is going to roll right in and see everything LX has. So they're both going to know exactly what the other player is building. It'll be interesting to see if any player maybe kind of changes it just based on what they're building, or if they just feel that a mixed army of what they're both building at this point is the right thing. So we're going to see a little skirmish here. We're going to see a really nice job here with this force field by Playkad, but unfortunately he force fielded a little too low. If he would have force fielded higher, because all of these units are ranged, so they're doing just as much damage to Playkad as Playkad's doing to LX. So it's basically an even exchange. Even though he did really do a good force field, it was just too low. He needed that force field to be a little bit higher to block off these units. So obviously Playkad decides to retreat, doesn't want to lose too much of his army, which would allow LX to push right into his base. So they both retreat to live to fight for another day, and looks like he's going to start getting some Colossus. Very smart unit to use in a PvP match, as they can just shoot right over the force fields of the sentries, making and the sentries are already so weak as it is. So if you can get a unit that pretty much nullifies the one strength of the sentry, which is the force field, it really helps you. So he does got one Colossus up, but again, anytime you're getting a Colossus, you gotta get that thermal lance upgrade, and he's just so stacked right now that he can't afford to get that upgrade. He's only got 200 minerals and 114 gas, and he's scared to get that upgrade because that would stop his production of other units. See how he's just warping in more units, building more Colossus. It's just not right without the thermal upgrade, because the Colossus will have to be so close that they'll easily be focus fired and shot down very quickly. But if they do have that upgrade, they can sit so far back and just spray their lance and just rape with their high splash damage. So it looked like he was going to go for a proxy pylon here by Playkad. That was easily countered here by LX, and LX realized that was a bad position to fight, so he's going to back up. He's going to get in a better angle to attack this army here by Playkad. So he's got more Immortals coming, and this is the chance right here. Nice wall off here. So Playkad has walled off basically LX's top units, but unfortunately he's just shooting right down on them because they're all in range. He didn't micro his units back, and look at the Colossus. They're doing really nothing. LX easily wins that battle because the Colossus had to be so close. He was too worried about his Colossus. He had to micro him back. They barely got shots off, and LX feels the kind of the blood spilling out here. He decides to push up. He feels like he can maybe get a little bit of damage going here, and he does a nice little force field there to block off that one sentry. So he got the kill, and so now he's going to go ahead and back up. At this point, I would really like to see LX push up and get that natural. That was a good push. It really decimated a lot of Playkad's army, and both players are starting to run kind of low on their main minerals here. If he can get the expansion up and running, it'll really put him at an economic advantage. And he does. He does go get that natural. Very smart. So he's got a bigger army at this point. He does have his natural coming up, and so it looks like as well Playkad feels the need that he needs to get that natural as well, because he does not want to fall behind economically, because that would really hurt him. So LX probably just saw that with his observer that he's going for a natural as well. So he's going to move in his main army here. He realizes that Playkad is still decimated, plus he just wasted 400 minerals,